And here comes the Ali people out of the dressing room, and all of the questions will be answered. This is an awesome power of George Foreman against the violent boxing skills of Muhammad Ali. Here comes Ali. You can see him there very calm if you saw the interview. There's no question on my mind, and I don't think anybody else's mind here at ringside, about the tremendous confidence of this tremendous athlete. It's age against youth. The experience of Muhammad Ali against the youth and brute force on blinding speed. You can hear the band beginning to strike up in the background as Ali moves to the ring. This is what Muhammad Ali lives for. This is the man's life. This may be a historic event. Muhammad Ali coming into the boxing ring for the last time. Should Muhammad Ali retire, this will be, what you're seeing now, a very historic event. Should Ali win the title tonight, it definitely is an historic event, because he will have to definitely go down in the history of boxing as one of the all-time greats. His handler, Angelo Dundee, brings him in. And there you hear the sound of Ali Boumaier. That's what the local people say, and you can see Ali is getting a standing ovation from some 70,000, we estimate, in attendance here as he dances behind the American flag. Muhammad Ali will be gloved in the ring, as will George Foreman. How about it, Jimmy? Any thoughts on what it's like for an athlete to go into the field of battle?
It's tremendous pressure, Bob, no doubt about it. But I think along with the pressure, there's a great feeling, because it's like once in a lifetime you can do something that's great that maybe no one else can ever do again.
One thing that's very important as we take a look across the ring at Muhammad Ali bouncing around is Dr. Ferdy Pacheco, a physician, a man that certainly has the ability to help the aging former champion Muhammad Ali should he get in trouble. And of course his handler, a man that's been with him all the way, Angelo Dundee. I have to give the corner strength to the Muhammad Ali group based on the just sheer fact that George Foreman was cut. There's a possibility that he could be cut against. Ali has lashing, cutting type punches. He's got tremendous speed in his hands, still has good speed of foot. Just how much speed in this humidity, we just don't know. Angelo Dundee looking around, and again I talk about that corner being important. Angelo spent this afternoon over here making sure the ropes were tight, making sure that there was enough rosin on the canvas here. And now we understand that George Foreman is about to make his way to the ring as Ali continues to dance and build up a little bit of a sweat and get ready for this big fight.
And right at the ringside there, I see right at the ringside, standing, watching everything fascinatedly over there, Joe Frazier, the former world champion, right there at the ringside like any other fan in this vast auditorium.
He says he wants the winner too.
I think he's more than a fan in this case, David. I think that he definitely has his sights set on maybe a $5 million purse for Joe Frazier should he get the opportunity to meet the world heavyweight champion again.
A very understandable human ambition. We hope to be talking to Joe a little later on about the way he thinks the fight's going, if he can get over to our commentary position over on this side of the ring.
While we have the opportunity, we can give you an idea of the instructions that the fighters will be receiving. First off, this is a 19-foot ring. Muhammad Ali, of course, wanted the larger ring for his dancing, wanted a 20-foot ring, but the Everlast company had to come through and create this new 19-foot ring. The Foreman camp wanted an 18-foot ring, understandably, so they could cut off Ali in the corners. The scoring of this fight will be the 10-point must system. The 3 knockdown rule is waived. The count will continue after the bell in every round, with the exception, of course, of the 15th round, which ends the fight. They're using 8-ounce championship gloves. As we mentioned, both fighters will be gloved in the ring. They had their hands taped in their respective locker rooms, and the taping was watched by boxing officials from the African Boxing Union and from the World Boxing Council, and a member of the opposing corner. You hear a tremendous roar. We don't see him yet, but we can only assume that George Foreman is on his way out here. We still don't see any indication of George Foreman.
Is there any protocol on this sort of thing?
Bob, those cheers of Ali and his movements in the ring, he's putting on his show and the people love it.
Is there any protocol about this sort of thing? How long can a champion keep a challenger waiting? Is it gamesmanship? Is he trying to tire him before the fight starts? How long could a champion keep him waiting?
I don't know what the exact rule is on that, or if in fact there is, but you would think that somebody who is in the locker room with the World Boxing Council will have him out here. This does play a very definite psychological effect. Football coaches, Jim Brown, sometimes would like to keep their football team in, so the other team that comes out really keyed up can kind of cool down a little bit before the ball game starts. Could be the same thing tonight.
Of course, because you keep looking over your shoulder. You don't know how long it's going to be, and it puts extra pressure on you.
We mentioned that this fight is under the sanction of the World Boxing Council and the African Boxing Union. The officials, the judges will be Adala from Turkey and James Taylor from the United States. We have no last name for Adala, we'll just assume he's Adala. And the referee will be Zach Clayton. And Zach Clayton is actually a veteran of the ring. Zach Clayton refereed the second Walcott-Lewis fight, as some of you may recall, in Yankee Stadium. He's been kind of inactive as far as refereeing goes in recent years. He is a former Harlem Globetrotter, proving beyond any reasonable shadow of a doubt he's a fine athlete. He's also the chairman of the Pennsylvania State Boxing Commission. There's Joe Frazier, looking intent. Muhammad Ali continues to dance around, getting himself warmed up a little bit. I bet you that Ali does not like this waiting, nor does Angelo Dundee. That's Drew Bundini Brown, who is the character of sorts from the Ali camp.
Bob, I think George has been doing a lot of this in the last couple of weeks. You know, he's been really trying to psych Ali out, and I think tonight he's overdoing it a little bit. Assuming that he's really trying to psych him out.
Well, I don't understand.
It's a really interesting point, this, which way it will work, actually, isn't it? Because there will become a point where Muhammad Ali may get worried, and then there will become another point where he may get furious. We may see a more angry Muhammad Ali than we've ever seen before. You never know how these ploys work.
There's the famous feat. $5 million on the hoof, we'll call it, for tonight.
Or maybe George Foreman is just not coming.
Or maybe that's a thought that I didn't think of.
You know, a very good point, though. In the last week, I think most of the writers have changed their mind about Foreman being the overwhelming favorite.
I think they have.
Did you catch that glance there and the intenseness of the eye of Muhammad Ali as he looked towards the outside, looking for George Foreman? Shadow boxing around for 60 seconds to 2 minutes to 3 minutes does no good for a man 32 years old when he's fighting a man that is a few years younger.
Foreman's jerking us
Bob,
off.
that's not true.
Right?
It only loosens up the muscles.
Yes, there's no danger of a pulled muscle now. But we are starting to reach the point where George Foreman is...
Foreman's not jerking us off.
Ali, you can
overstaying his non-welcome.
David, excuse me, Ali, you can see has a tremendous sweat already built up, which is another indication of the humidity that we've talked about, and we'll keep mentioning that. Now here comes the heavyweight champion of the world, George Foreman, jogging out. George Foreman decked out in his red robe, coming in with his people. Listen to the ovation that he's getting. I don't know whether I'm right or wrong on this, but it appears that Foreman's getting a little bit more of an ovation than Ali.
Although, as we were saying, he came just in time, because I don't know whether you noticed there, but at the beginning of Foreman entering, there were a few boos. People were beginning to resent the delay. Now the excitement of the big fight being about to begin is overwhelming that. But he really was timing it very tightly indeed.
Well, there he is, the heavyweight champion of the world in there. Takes a look across the ring at Muhammad Ali. Look at Ali having a look right back.
There is some clear booing. There is a little booing. There is a little booing.
There definitely is. A little bit of booing. George Foreman in his red robe dancing around, casts a little glance across to Muhammad Ali. And now the ring announcements are just about set to begin. There'll be two national anthems played tonight. Now the cheer starts. Ali here at ringside as they focus in on George Foreman, the heavyweight champion of the world. He looks around and is talking to Archie Moore, a pretty country fair fighter in his own day.
And yes, the shouts for Ali, at least in this part of the auditorium, are dwarfing any others.
Trying to figure out exactly what the possible delay could be here now. They've had about all the delays they could possibly have tonight, and we should have the announcements very quickly. This is Chimpupu, who is the chef de presse here in Zaire, in Kinshasa. Now the ring announcements are officially going on. They're having trouble with the audio system here in the arena, so the people actually in attendance can't hear any ring announcements, and this is the delay at this particular time. This is, of course, the national anthem. Muhammad Ali dancing around. This will be the national anthem of the country of Zaire. Beautiful national anthem by the band in attendance here. A tremendous evening in Zaire. There was a lot of talk about the possibility of rain. I don't think the weather could be any more beautiful than it is tonight. There's a full moon out. And Ali is getting the people to chant, Ali Bomaye. That means Ali kill him. There's the sight at ringside. 60 to 70,000 in attendance here in this 20th of May stadium. Let's talk about the fighter, George Foreman, for just a moment. George Foreman, of course, has a tremendous record of 40 wins, no losses, 37 knockouts. This product, born in Marshall, Texas, and now living in Hayward, California, aged 24 years old, 6'3", and weighs 220. The big story as far as the tail of the tape is concerned is that Ali has an 1.5 inch reach on George Foreman. This could play a little bit of a difference in the fight. George Foreman has the tremendous record. As we take a look at his last few fights, it's almost unbelievable that he hasn't fought a full 15 rounds in total since 1972. And as we look at his past 8 fights, everything has gone not beyond the second round. He knocked out Murray Goodwin in Austin in the second round, Clarence Boone in Beaumont, Texas in the second round, Ted Gullick in the second round. He knocked him out in Los Angeles. Miguel Paz was knocked out in Oakland, California as Ali looks on. And he knocked out Terry Souls in Salt Lake City also in the second round, all in 1972. In 1972, well, that was a big year for Foreman, winning all of his fights. 73, even a bigger year. His first fight, January 22nd of 1973, he beat Joe Frazier down in Kingston, Jamaica, and won the World Heavyweight Championship fight in that dramatic second-round knockout. And then he defended his championship for the first time on August 31st against Jose King Roman in Tokyo, Japan, and retained the World Heavyweight Championship. Then, of course, was the fight, the last fight by video techniques in 1974. This year, down in Caracas, Venezuela, in March 26th to be exact, the second round knockout over Kenny Norton, again retaining the World Heavyweight Championship. As far as Muhammad Ali is concerned, the highlights in his career, as most of you are aware of. He won the championship from Charles Sonny Liston, February 25, 1964, a seventh-round knockout on Miami Beach. He defended his title 9 times before the layoff in 1968 and 1969. We won 7 of those fights by the knockout route. Now, since the layoff, he's had 17 fights. This is Muhammad Ali, the man we're talking about. Ali, 17 fights since the layoff, 15-2, 8 knockouts.
A great scene going on the stage there now. On the world stage, in fact, at this very moment in time. I don't think we can catch it with our microphones, but...
Ali, obviously, David, yelling across the way at George Foreman, trying to psych him and taunt him. This is all part of his tactics. This is something we're going to have to see the younger fighter, whether he can tolerate this, whether he will.
In fact, so far, it certainly doesn't seem that Muhammad Ali was demoralized by that delay.
No, it doesn't. George Foreman, of course, the much more serious fighter. Ali will attempt to bewilder and frustrate the man, not only by chatter, but by his movements in the ring, Jimmy.
Yeah, definitely. He was winking and making fun of Foreman, trembling and doing all sort of things. I mean, he's probably the bravest guy right now in this arena.
That man looks pretty serious himself right there. Cracks a little smile as he looks towards that camera. There's a face of determination. 220 pounds of sheer muscle, a strong, speedy individual with tremendous courage. And now we have a man at ringside who knows quite a bit about it. And David, I'm going to throw it over to you.
Yes, I'm sitting here next to Joe Fraser. And Joe, I was just wondering at the moment, what are your impressions thus far? What do you sense of the mood? I saw you at ringside over the other side.
Hi, Jim. How you doing?
How you doing, Joe, baby?
Okay.
Good to see you.
The main thing about it, David, both guys look like they're in good shape. They all seem like they're in good spirit. Everybody kidding around with each other. I should see the good fight. Nobody look like they're afraid of each other, that's for sure.
Are you making any predictions?
Well, I guess anyway from 1 to 15, I hope it'll be a good fight. I'll take on the champion.
You're backing the champion?
You better believe it.
And between 1 and 15, you're taking any range. Could it actually go the full distance?
Well, I would say yeah, then I'd say no. You know, I really don't know what to say because I haven't visited the camp so far. I just seen news media and different things, what the guys be doing, but I don't really know what's going on.
But Joe, one question.
Yes,
Do you really think that Ali has a chance? Now, you know.
The way I feel about Jimmy, don't mind going, Jimmy.
Not at all.
The guys is 2-man out there, and everybody on their own. That's right, and I think the guy got a good chance. I mean, he got 2 hands. He's been working for 2 months all together, so therefore he should know what he has to do.
You respect his skills.
Oh, I respect all guys with 2 hands, believe
Beautiful.
me.
We should have a good fight then.
And in fact, at the moment, does he look fitter to you than he was in his last fight with you, or less fit, Muhammad?
I would say I think he's about maybe 2 or 3 pounds lighter.
2 or 3 pounds lighter.
I would say he's about 2 or 3 pounds lighter. They said about 216. I'll give him about maybe 213, 214 pounds. Maybe 13.
Joe, one question to ask you. Both of these fellows are capable of dishing out tremendous punishment. One does it with 1 punch, the other does it over a period of rounds. How can you just make a comment on that for our worldwide audience?
Well, I wouldn't say that, my man over here been able to give it out, dish it out. I think that George is capable of dishing it out. I don't know about taking it, but as a big man, he's a big man. He should be able to take most anything.
Well, that's the view of a man who should know. A man who should know. Joe Frazier, who's going to stay here with us and watch the fight with us. It's getting very close to fight time. Blow-by-blow commentary is going to be by Mr. Bob Sheridan. He'll be taking over in a moment or two to give us the blow-by-blow, and at the end of the first round we'll come back, Joe, for a comment from you.
Well, I think it should be a real good fight, and somehow you guys just got me here working. How about that? I come to have a vacation and watch the fight. Hey, I'm calling blow-by-blow.
For free.
What?